Grand Rising, Grand Day. Welcome to Healing Hype Man. Let's wrap up October. Let's see what we witnessed, what we assessed, and how we can align, right? October, as we're wrapping up, heading into November, is a harvest month, right? So a big component of the month of October, and I'm thinking ahead to like what November will be, which will be like new beginnings, right? But let's wrap up and see where we are. I have a couple questions here. This is going to be a little bit of a longer reading here. So stick around if you're interested, right? I'm going to ask 6 questions. I'm going to pull 6 cards, right? And the theme is what we have witnessed, what we've assessed, right? And then with that information, I love information. With that information, we can then go and align in some way. It's going to bring us into November, where the new beginnings take place. So let's see. I'm going to ask, where am I right now? What is influencing me? What have I created since last month? What is no longer serving me? How can I let go and release this energy? And what can I learn during this month? Or what have I learned during this month, right? It's going to be the question. So let's dive in. Yeah, this is definitely going to be a longer video. We'll see where it goes. 3 shuffles. 555. Wow, 5:55 p.m. Recording this on October 27th. Let's dive in. 6 cards here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where am I right now? Well, King of Pentacles. It's telling me that there's some aspect of feeling grounded in some way, right? Perhaps we've been working on our foundation. I love how the King and the Queen are next to each other, right? What's influencing me? I'm going to go ahead and pull this in here, right? I could say there is an aspect of, right, masculine and feminine stability. Because I think from masculine and energy perspective, stability and safety looks very different. Not very different, can look different in some way, right? But there's an aspect of things working in your favor. We love that, right? This is where we're at right now. Perhaps we're focused. We could very well be focused on finances and being very practical, right? Making sure our foundation is solid, right? So that we can then plant the seeds in the new beginnings to bring them up, right? So I know everyone's going to be in a very different space here, but what I could say what's influencing us, some of us, there's resources that we might have tapped into this month of October that worked in our favor. I would say some of us, we might have brought things into fruition, right? The rabbit always represents fertility in some way, right? But there's an aspect of like, I'm working on my foundation. It's going to be simple like that. Where I'm at right now is I've been mastering and trying to, this also gives me the vibes of like, I've been trying to be the CEO of my life. And I use this in therapy when people are having difficulties making decisions or executive dysfunction in some way. It's like you are the CEO of your life. And this can be Capricorn energy as well, which is the CEO of the zodiac. Earth energy, right? Because it's just very grounding. And have you been making decisions, or can you put on the hat of the CEO, right? Alvin, the CEO Alvin, right? There will be difficult decisions that we have to make. There will be confrontations that we have to address, and you have to be able to tackle those and make executive decisions, right? You make the decision, you've thought it out, you have a plan or a process in how you're making decisions. Perhaps you're collaborating with someone else to do that. And you make the decision, and then you reap the reward, or you solve the issue, or you deal with the consequence of some way, right? But we have to be able to make decisions. And this is just speaking to, I'm trying to make decisions from a very grounded space, from a very, right, my foundation has to be strong before I can make the next step, right? So we've been focusing on the root. I love this. We're focusing on the dirt, focusing on the ground, from the ground up. And that's where we're at right now. Okay, excellent. And what's influencing me, I could say there could be some feminine energy that might be influencing you. I could say there could be people as well that have been influencing you, that have been great support in some way. Maybe you found some people that really like mirror you in a way, or they understand like where you're trying to go, the stability that you're trying to create. Yeah. What have I created since the last month? Nine of Wands. How would I read that? What have I created? Well, you've created boundaries. Nine of Wands is boundaries. Perhaps in order for you to be able to have a solid foundation, you had to create boundaries. Why? Because you've learned lessons. Nine of Wands is the wounded warrior, right? You've learned lessons in what it feels like to exhaust yourself or to deplete yourself or to work hard for something that may not be as meaningful as you would like. So in some way, you've created boundaries in the moment, not realizing that you were creating boundaries, right? Boundaries are behaviors or actions that you control, right? Anything about you, like I'm no longer going to do that, or I'm not going to answer emails after 8, or I'm not going to invest in that, or I'm not, right? They're all I am not, right? They're not about other people. That would be a rule. It's more about you. Okay. What is no longer serving me? The Empress. Interesting. Okay, so this is Taurus energy. I would say this is about valuing yourself, right? Realizing that perhaps you used to devalue yourself and not put yourself on a pedestal here, right? I would say that you weren't really looking at, that's a good question to actually put in reverse, right? You're not valuing yourself. You're not seeing yourself on the pedestal. Maybe we put other people and other priorities, other people, places, and things on pedestals. And now you're starting to realize, like, you know what? It's not serving me when I devalue myself or when I shame myself, or, right? That's all deep therapeutic work too. I know that we do it constantly, but there's an aspect of not viewing yourself as like damaged or broken, or, right, empowering yourself or trying to give yourself the things that you would want someone else to give you, right? Treat me how I treat me, right? So what's not serving you is when we don't value ourselves or forget about how much effort and how valuable we are and the things that we've accomplished. We tend to focus on the things that are so far away or are defective aspects of us, but we forget to look upside down from other lenses and really look at how far we've come and what we've created, and, right, and put ourselves on the pedestal, and the way that we look, the way that we present ourselves, what we put on our body. Right? This also speaks to Taurus energy. So I'm thinking of just like food and value, right? Value, right? So not valuing yourself as something that has not worked for you. And the next question is going to be like, how can I release this energy? So if you still struggle with that, or if that's something that's resonating with you. In this month, the 10 of Swords, interesting. Well, I can say that we've been sick and tired of being sick and tired of devaluing ourselves, that now, you know, a cycle has changing here, right? I could say also the mental component has just exhausted you, and perhaps we put an emphasis on like figuring out what we can do. When I look at this card, 10 of Swords, right? Something needs to end, right? How it ends is a whole nother conversation. I'm going to pull another card on that, right? So Alvin, how do I stop devaluing myself, right? Well, this card is telling me that there's an end to it, an end to a mental strain. So perhaps there's just clarity that is gained, but let's clarify here, right? Give us another reason how we do that, right? Opportunities. So attaining confidence is also coming to me too, right? You attain something, you finish something, you do something, you create something. You've been saying yes to things as opposed to no to things. Oh, I'm not worth that. I'm not going to get that. I'm not worthy of it, right? But just still going after new opportunities and saying yes to things is a way that you can then start to transmute this and be like, oh yes, I can do that. Oh, I do see the value in myself, right? So going after new opportunities could be a way, and saying yes to things that you might not have said before could be a way to help you transmute this outlook of viewing yourself differently or putting yourself on the bottom of the pedestal. Say yes to things. And what can I learn, or what have I learned during this cycle, right? And then we have the Two of Pentacles. So this is going to tell me that we've learned about one, routine, but two, like, is it worth my time juggling? Notice there's a lot of earth energy. Yes, there is a lot of earth energy. So, because this is balancing priorities, and like, are you actually balancing things that are worth your time and part of your long-term goal, or are you just in a mundane, basic routine of some kind that's just an endless cycle that goes over and over and over again, right? I could say that some of you might have broken a cycle and added new things to your routine. You've rebalanced the priorities that you used to be at the top of your list, right? I would say there's a reorganization and a shuffle here in, one, how you value yourself, two, your stability, your safety, and your security, right? That's literally what I see here. That has been what the month very well could have brought in. So I'd love for you to kind of reflect on like where you're at, and if this theme kind of resonates with you. Because if we start from a very solid foundation, we think of the Tower card, right? The reason why the Tower is falling is because it had a broken foundation to begin with. So if we want to build a new tower, because we like the tower, right? The tower's excitement too. We want to build new towers in our life. We have to be able to start from a solid foundation. Interesting why I'm pulling out the tower. This is Scorpio energy too, and we're in Scorpio season. Is the tower Scorpio? Wow, I just literally mind blown myself right now. I don't even know. Now I have to check because I would be a bad reader if I told you otherwise. Some of you are already like, yeah, then it is. Yes, the energy of the tower is linked to Scorpio, right? So interesting why I'm talking about this. So, and as we were in Scorpio season, my little tidbit here is like, there is a lot of deconstruction of stuff. It's more on the internal realm. Things will most likely be revealed, right? Secrets of some kind. Things are being revealed. So there is an excitement because sometimes we have to shake things up in order for us to take action, right? Sometimes the harsh truth also gets you. Oh, speaking of, sometimes the harsh truth gets you to actually take action on something. And I have a quote here that I really like. I actually got it from, I forgot her, Emma Stone. Honesty without compassion is cruelty. Honesty without kindness is brutality. Right, so while we want the harsh truth, and I've reflected on like, Alvin, the harsh truth, but is it being delivered in a way that's offering compassion and kindness, right? Because we can work with that. We all want to be kind to ourselves and to other people. So, but we also want the honest truth. And we could be very tower-like, like, oh wow, you're a mess up, you never do anything right, what's going on, right? Like very degrading and demeaning. But how about instead like, hey, honestly, we're not in the right space right now. Things, finances aren't great. Let's kind of reshuffle this and see how we can support ourselves for long-term investments, right? We can reframe that into a kind and compassionate statement that is validating, understanding, and also with some action behind it so that we can support the plan, right? So we can align and be in congruence with where we want to go, right? In the same direction, in the same momentum. So let's see what November brings us. I would love for you to let me know how this resonated for you in any way. If earth energy or stability, foundation, safety, security, maybe even self-worth was topics for you, that would really support me in understanding if these messages align with the collective. And I look forward to seeing you in November. My name is Alvin Catalan. I'm present. I'm done speaking now.